your life is a movie, and I'm talking to you, yes, you, you are the main character. This is such a beautiful analogy for, I'm hearing the events that are transpiring in your reality, and I'm also hearing what is about to transpire, because the next sequence of events is going to collapse into your timeline simply because you're stepping into this new time within yourself. This is about consciousness traveling into a new event, and you are the main event. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about a lot that was coming through last night. I spent so long trying to decode these messages and relay and articulate this in a way where it's going to be easily digestible for you, in a way where you can really understand this on a quantum level, scientifically, psychologically. Um, I'm hearing the physiological effects as well in regards to being a soul seated in this physical vessel and really being able to navigate this human experience in a way that feels congruent with your fluid nature. And congruency is about living in a I'm hearing in accordance, okay, living in alignment with you being more of a non-physical being, with you being a quantum being and being able to leverage such. And I'm hearing reality then at this rate is becoming something that you are just orchestrating. You are orchestrating these events. I'm hearing this next sequence. I'm seeing the chain reaction card in my TD message deck. So there is a sequence of events, there is a chain reaction that is about to transpire in your reality where you're going to be opening up this ecosystem. Okay, I'm seeing like a new domain opening up for yourself, filled with people, with opportunities, with events that all in resonance with your current frequency. So these are things that you're pulling in. I'm seeing like quantum entanglement and the law of attraction. You are literally a magnet. And for you, when we talk about main character vibes, I just want to emphasize this opening up, right? Six of Wands energy is what we're talking about. Six of Wands is literally, let me see, right, if we can find it, what it looks like in this deck. Six of Wands is basically a public victory. It is correlated with the sun card energy, and the sun, what is it? It's the biggest star in this solar system, right, subject to this universe. And this is about a lot of things and opportunities and people being in your orbit during this time, and it's because of this warmth that you bring. It's because you're back, I'm hearing, in alignment with your core essence. When we talk about the sun energy, right, this is about moving through this existence in a more joyful way, in a more fluid way, which is to be high vibrational. Anyway, let's see if we can find it. All of this is upside down, but look, we have the sun and we have the star card even right next to each other. Let's just put one message for fun before we open up, because this is going to be a really deep subject. This is another sun card energy, right? Strength. We have Leo. So there is something that you are being called to do, okay? And this could be about opening yourself up to new realities as you open up to, I'm hearing, new dimensions within yourself that have been kind of repressed and suppressed. So there could be a new way that you're moving through this existence. I always see this as Mary has a little lamb as well, where there is definitely a lot of celestial light helpers and guides encoded into your field during this time, assisting you. I'm hearing in collapsing these next events, okay, into your reality. Right, let me go ahead and find the Six of Wands. I know I'm getting kind of sidetracked, but we're about to get into a really deep session today. I've been so looking forward to this. I was actually gonna hop on here at like 2 like 2 a.m. when I was kind of decoding all of this. But I was like, let me just wait until the morning. Um, where is the Six of Wands? Where are you? It's almost like you may be hiding and then you appear out of nowhere, right? There could be something that you're questioning though with the Four of Cups flipping out. It's like the universe is handing you a new lifeline during this time, a new way of being able to feel, look, and move through this existence. And I'm hearing you begin to change the way that you move through this existence. And I'm hearing the things that begin to move towards you as you focus on what really feels like it's going to be emotionally fulfilling for you at this stage in your journey. But this is literally the universe handing you a new lifeline. You know, there could be something that you've been reflecting, reviewing, revising. Here you are. And we peel back that Six of Cups when it comes to your past. This is you stepping into a new chapter. This is actually a new chapter being something that you were writing for yourself during this time as well. So yeah, Six of Wands. This is literally about you're going to be placed into the spotlight. This is about, I'm hearing, witnessing reality reconfigure itself to correspond with all the internal shifts that are happening within you. But I'm hearing your reality shifts as you do, okay? And it's like you're going through this constant shedding process. So you may have felt like there's been circumstances and situations that have been kind of cycling in and out of your life. That's what I'm seeing. It's almost as if you surrendered to the ebbs and flows. I'm hearing the coming and the goes, right? So like what comes and goes. I'm hearing what stays, what doesn't. That could be something that I'm seeing, like this whirlwind around you during this time. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about, right? We even had multiverse that came out. So this is about many different universes. You're about to literally step into a new existence, okay? An entirely new existence where you're not even going, it's like the world is changing before your eyes and you're changing before everyone's eyes because you have changed. That's the energy that's coming through. So we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about today. And the way that I want to kind of open up, right? It's even 3:33 on the clock right now when I check the time. So 3:33 is all about, you can see that, major growth. It's about major expansion. Should I actually pull it up? Sorry guys, I have to go pull this deck real quick because 3:33 was on the clock, so you already know what time that means. Let's go ahead and see. I'll read this verbatim. It's about major growth happening in your life. This is about a major catalyst. Potential 3:33. Your chance to reach your highest of potentials is here. Perseverance has gotten you to where you are. You've been through so much, and this guidance is here to show you that you're exactly where you need to be. The affirmation is, my potential is infinite. I use my strength as my ally to pursue my highest good. And that's exactly what it feels like. It's like you're stepping into your highest expansion during this time. Your timelines are expanding as a result of that. I'm hearing expansive networks, expansive opportunities, I'm hearing orchestrated events. It's just like major expansion card. Even in my Cosmos Oracle message, it is about Jupiterian energy. You know, it's like things are going to be growing. It feels like as your courage as well, right? With the strength being the first message, expands, your life also does as a result of that. So let's go ahead and see, right? You could be really having to open yourself up to new experiences, opening yourself up to doing things that you haven't done before in order to be able to collapse realities into your existence that you are yet to experience, okay? That's like another energy, but the cosmic theater, right? We're going to talk about this because this was the download that I was seeing last night. So imagine yourself being in this vast holographic cinema, and there is this projection that you're seeing on the screen, but the screen is your whole auric field. All right, this is how I want you to guys to picture it. This is the architecture of your multi-dimensional field, this bubble that you always have around you. When you become conscious of that, you're now starting to visualize it. Okay, you're going to feel yourself shifting into altered states of consciousness as we continue to embark on this, you know, internal explorative journey, right? But yeah, this is like a 360-degree dome around your vessel, okay, at all points in time. And this is where every thought, every feeling, every choice begins to project this unique film, right? In accordance with how the thoughts that you're thinking, the way that you're feeling. This is going to lead to different events transpiring in your reality. And within this cosmic theater, each chakra point that you have begins to act as a quantum projector. Okay, it begins to project a different way that you interpret the film, different characters that are occupying these specific domains and these specific realms, okay? It's almost like there are characters linked to each one of these domains and they begin to collapse into your reality when you tune into this octave of yourself. Now we're going to talk about this. So each color opens up a portal, right, and into an entirely different kind of ecosystem filled with different events, different people. Again, we spoke about this, right, that are vibrating at your current frequency. Sorry guys, I was just cooking. I wanted to make sure my food didn't burn. But there's that, okay, there's that type of energy that's coming through where it's almost as if you are, you know, chefing things up in your reality. You are cooking things into your reality. And there is this mix of different ingredients, different components, different, I'm hearing elemental factors that you're working with. And suddenly, the world that you begin to see or hear or experience is this ever unfolding movie that happens for all of eternity. And this lifetime, when you really zoom out, is really just a scene, you know, in this quantum movie that is playing out, and the quantum movie that is your life. So, yeah, within your auric field collapses a timeline that begins to download into your physical experience, right? Collapsing through space and time, different people collapsing through space and time, different events collapsing through space and time, different opportunities. And this is your personal screenplay, right? Playing out in real time. And the question then becomes, what if the movie you're watching, right, Four of Cups, is something that you kind of feel stuck in, right? What if the movie that you're existing in right now is something that feels heavy, or it feels dark, or you feel like you're kind of repeating the same patterns, right? This person is basically sick of the three cups that they've always chosen again and again. Maybe it made them happy once upon a time, but it no longer does. And here the universe is, you know, trying to signal their attention. It's saying, hey, we have something totally different, a complete different way of thinking, feeling, and relating, even emotionally, when it comes to your journey on earth. We just need you to shift your perspective. You know, this is about somebody having a paradigm shift here. So that's when it's time to begin to shift the lens that you interpret reality through and the filters of perception. And it completely changes your entire experience when it comes to your journey on earth. You know, it's the version of reality that you see depending upon the lenses that you wear. Now, we're going to talk about this in a moment. So, if you feel like you've fallen asleep or you've wandered in a timeline that you don't want to be in anymore, well, you can change that. Okay, this is saying that you are the director, you are the producer, you are also the main character, and you get to rewrite your story as many times as necessary until this feels like home. This feels like an existence that you can play and create in. It's not just about you being a passive observer in your reality and continuing to choose the same experiences and circumstances that may be familiar but leave you feeling unfulfilled. No, this is about you choosing something that you haven't done before. Would you dare to, right? With the strength card. Sometimes it also feels like you don't know how strong you are until you're left with no other option. And the strength card is also about making decisions based off of self-love. It's making sometimes irreversible decisions for the soul's journey and for the soul's path. And the best way that you can kind of do that is to begin to zoom out, okay, and open up the filters or frameworks in which you're viewing this existence and download higher streams of awareness when navigating this construct. And what it means is anchoring higher ways of thinking about this existence. When we're talking about higher, we're talking about anchor qualities of thoughts that are vibrating in a higher vibration. What are your quality of thoughts? What thoughts do you continue to reinforce again and again? So this is where we get into the analogy. And the analogy is, you know, I want you to imagine that you're walking into this quantum theater. Okay, it's like a cosmic theater kind of vibe, and it's designed for multidimensional travel. And not just multidimensional travel, but interdimensional travel. And when we talk about interdimensional, dimensions of frequencies, which means that while existing in this third dimensional plane, you are going to experience a certain level of contrast, okay? Which means that you can be experiencing one event, but look at it from multiple angles, okay? Multidimensional. You can look at it from many different levels of awareness. And the film that is playing out is your life on earth right now, okay? It's your life in this human experience, not just being a human being having spiritual experiences, but being a spirit having a human experience. This screen doesn't show just one reality that you're subject to, that you're bound to, but it holds them all, right? Every single possible version of yourself that could, would, has, will ever exist, okay? and it holds them all, like this transparent kind of real. And before you sit down in this quantum theater, you are given this set of glasses. Okay, you actually have a selection of glasses in front of you. There remain 7 pairs, right, linked to each one of the 7 chakras that become your filter of perception. And these are tuned into different kind of frequency bands, right? You tune into different kind of bandwidths of frequency light. You begin to feel a certain way when you wear each one of these glasses. There are all of these different responses that you're feeling within your human vessel, right? You begin to think differently with each one of these pairs. You begin to go through all of these different sensations. It's almost like a different kind of sensory experience, right? That's how I want you to kind of picture it. And you have the root, the sacral, the solar, which is linked to more of the matrix lenses, right? And then you also have the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, which are almost like ascended levels, ascended lenses that help you kind of see things from a higher level of awareness, right? Now you're looking at the lens when it comes to your life on earth through higher frameworks of existence, right? It's you looking at life through the lens of the soul often instead of the lens of the human. And the glasses you wear will determine the version of the film that you will just see, but the version of the film that you will experience. Okay. So we're gonna really, really get into this now. So I'm even probably gonna I don't know, should I bring you guys in? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys prefer being a little bit more seated back, or do you prefer being up close and personal, like mixing and matching? I don't know, I'm just like anyway, yeah, this is really going to be an intense session because I spent probably like 4 hours in a rabbit hole last night decoding these messages, so I really hope that you find this useful, right? So anyway, you're in the cosmic theater, right? I really want to bring you into this experience. I should have brought sunglasses right now. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the different selection of glasses that you have in front of you. Okay, and these are lenses that are always accessible to you. Okay, you always have these lenses within your grasp. Okay, and these lenses are something internally encoded within you that you can shift in and out of. And oftentimes we always shift in and out of these lenses, but we're just not always aware of it. So the first pair of glasses that you have in front of you is a red pair, and this red pair is linked to the root chakra. Now, the theme for this specific pair of glasses is safety versus survival. Now we're going to talk about this being in a balanced state and also an imbalanced state. So if it's in balance, the way that you will begin to see your third dimensional, life on earth play out is literally something that becomes a constant thriller. Okay, you begin to feel unease immediately as you wear these pair of glasses. Every shadow becomes a threat. Every stranger's glance becomes a perceived judgment, right? The soundtrack begins to hum in the background. There's this uneasy tension. You don't feel safe in your body. It's almost like you're so locked into a fight or flight response. Your autonomic nervous system begins to activate when it comes to your sympathetic nervous system. There's all of these different biochemical reactions that begin to deposit, okay, and disperse themselves throughout this human vessel that you're soul seated within. And it becomes this very deep sensory chamber that you enter into. Almost to the point where you forget that you're in the theater. Okay, you forget that you are not this body. You forget that this is all an experience, and it feels like you are trapped in the movie. You're trapped in a thriller. You're trapped in survival mode. It feels like something that you can't get out of, and your brain switches to reptilian operations when that happens. Right, the amygdala begins to activate. You're in this loop that disconnects you from others, which is really just a mirror of where you're disconnected from you being more non-physical because you're so locked into the physical realm. You're so under the illusion of physicality that you forget about the true nature of this construct. You become so detached. Your source cord is very thin, it's very frail, okay, it's very fragile, and it's because you're so disconnected from you being more non-physical than you are physical, right? The physicality begins to feel very, very dense. Okay, it's like you're moving through this realm but in this very low vibrational density, right? It's almost like everything feels like you have to be on the lookout. It almost feels like as a spiritual being having a human experience, your vessel can get stuck wearing these root glasses. And I really wanted to emphasize this one because this can be the hardest one to get out of. It can be the most challenging one to get out of, because psychologically and also physiologically, there is a lot happening within the vessel, right? There is a lot of sensory experiences that we'll go through in a way where we have this dependency upon biochemical reactions, okay, that get deposited into the body. For example, there's certain addictions where the human can get really, really attached to living life in this specific way. Not that cortisol itself is addictive, not that adrenaline itself is addictive, but there can be this chronic stress that floods your system, that floods this human vessel in a way where there's this feedback loop that's created. It's almost like fight or flight feels something that's like it's necessary to be in simply because it's familiar. It's hard to break out of these repetitive, reinforced thought forms. It's hard to break out of modes of survival, right? It's hard to exit out of this state of fear, okay, that is beginning to paralyze your whole organism. It begins to really disrupt the way that you move through this existence. It's almost like you're in a counter creative state of moving through this realm because you've forgotten yourself as a creator, you've forgotten yourself as a fractal of awareness, right? It's like you're not even conscious of yourself again. Instead, you literally just become a passive observer of your reality. It feels like you're seeing the world through the lens of survival, and it's that, okay? It's only that. And true freedom lies when you begin to shift your awareness from this primal stress, and instead you begin to step out of the cortisol rush, right? And instead you reconnect with the safety and power within you. So now let's talk about, I'm sure we've all felt this, right? We've all felt this kind of level of fear. We've all felt this kind of level of lack, right? This level of disconnection from ourselves, disconnection from those around us. It's, you know, it's very, I'm hearing you actually forget that you are this sacred, not just that this is a sacred experience, but that you're also this sacred being, you know. You completely come out of that disconnection within yourself, and because of that, you begin to disconnect from all those around you. You know, that's where we begin to judge or compartmentalize or separate ourselves from others, forgetting that these are just other extensions and expressions of ourselves. You were just completely disconnected from your own light. You're disconnected from your own truth. And it's like this is a lens where you really just do fall asleep. And it's almost like you are just on fight or flight mode. It's like you are just on autopilot moving through this existence. And you feel like you're subject to everything outside of yourself. It's almost like you are at the mercy to everything externally, right? This is where the external state really begins to govern our internal way of being, and we begin to feel overwhelmed as we move through this existence. We feel like we're bracing for life's changes, right? Because we don't like change when we wear this lens, and we're resisting the true nature of this construct, right? And universal laws that we're all abiding by, because we're resisting a level of release. You know, it's almost like we're attaching to rigid notions, belief systems, whatever this may be. So being able to see this through more of a balanced lens is where you begin to ground yourself. This is where your awareness really comes into your body. You feel safe in the seat of your vessel, right? It's like your soul is seated within your vessel, and you're in your body, and you're aware of you being in the film, but without fear. This is the moment where you recognize danger when it is real, but you don't always live in a state of, you know, feeling danger. This is where the picture begins to stabilize around you, and you see the structure beneath the story. The ground that you walk on feels unshakable. You feel like your intention for why you are seated onto this planet, right? Why you've participated in this experience becomes your anchor. You are so firmly in you're so rooted and grounded firmly in who you are, to the point where nobody's absence or presence disrupts your very being. All right. This is where even tense scenes that do happen around you don't rattle you, because again, you were anchored, you were stable, you were safe, you were secure in your vessel, and you were capable. And the movie becomes at this point more of an adventure, okay, rather than a survival test. It's almost like you begin to kind of step into the realms of exploration, okay? And you feel safe as you begin to explore and navigate this experience. It kind of reminds me, like with the root chakra, the balance and imbalance is almost like you getting thrown in a jungle. And it may be very overwhelming. At first, you may be kind of in a fight or flight response, right? And you're aware of where there's very real dangers, right? Maybe there's like a python that you see, or there's like other kind of like animals, whatever this may be. But eventually, you just become at one with this ecosystem, right? It's almost like eventually you build the hut for yourself. You have learned how to kind of hunt for yourself. You've learned all these basic survival needs to the point where you're not having to fight to get your basic needs met, and you're at a point where you do feel safe, you do feel like there is this safety net within you, and you have everything that you need within you already to be able to create a stable foundation for yourself. It's almost like you have all the fundamentals there. So yeah, that's like the energy that's coming through there for the root. So next, we're going to move towards the sacral chakra. All right. And I really want you guys to focus on what you resonate with deeply, because at one point or another, you are going to resonate with every single one of these aspects. But I want you to focus on what is strongest during this time, right? And how can you become aware of this, of what it is that you are embodying, right, at every given moment in time, even after this session today. So the next pair of glasses is the sacral glasses, and the theme for this is sensuality versus shame. So now the theme of the movie begins to become infused with desire and passion and creativity, right? This is like a water chakra energy. This is where every character becomes a muse or a lover or a rival or an emotional mirror, right? It's very, very emotional. It's all about energetic exchanges and how we exchange our life force in this system. And scenes begin to become colored by intimacy or lack of it, right? Vulnerability and seeing that as a strength or seeing that as a weakness, okay? And the imbalanced sacral chakra, right, when that becomes your filter perception, are scenes that are colored with insecurity. These are scenes that are colored with shame or unworthiness, right? This is you becoming that kind of product and your environment beginning to shape you instead of you knowing yourself and you shaping your environment. All right, it's very, very different. So every character in this energy or relationship in this movie or film becomes a mirror of that rejection, okay, or that betrayal or a desire that feels dangerous, right? That feels unsafe. And intimacy is either something that is chased or desperately avoided in order to be able to um, maybe protect yourself, okay? Because you don't know how to hold these energetic boundaries. And there can be a lack of that, all right? You can be susceptible to it. So the imbalanced sacral chakra can often look like, tears in your field, right? This is where we're leaking our life force. So when it's balanced, though, the story becomes fluid and alive, and every scene kind of shines with this different inspiration, right? Relationships glow with healthy intimacy because the relationship that we have with ourselves becomes something that we find joy within, and because of that, we can co create with those around us, right? We step into a scene of co creation. And every interaction becomes a dance rather than this power struggle, right? Because we've been able to hold space for ourselves, we've been able to be vulnerable with ourselves, our own needs, our own desires, and the way that we show up for ourselves. And often others will come up. I'm hearing others will begin to download into our reality, okay? This stream of consciousness to mirror the relationship that you have with yourself, okay? So that's like the energy that's coming through. Now we're going to move towards the solar glasses. So with the solar glasses, the theme for this one is self-trust versus self-doubt. So this is a yellow pair of glasses, right? We've gone from red, we've gone from orange, and now we're in the yellow pair. These are all kind of still subject to this matrix, but the plot twist or the plot line of the yellow glasses usually revolves around themes of willpower or personal identity, right? Maybe even ambition. And it's all about your quest, your rise, your fall, and the achievements of your things that you're perceiving yourself accomplish in this life, or maybe your perceived failures, right? And when this is imbalanced, the storyline of your life begins to become a theme of you trying to prove yourself, okay? And it can be where you fear that you will fall, so you don't bother trying at all, right? Because you can't really trust yourself navigating this journey in regards to you reaching a very specific milestone or goal, right? It can be where we even like block ourselves from our own success. And I'm hearing the inevitability of that. And every character seems to kind of challenge your worth, or success is always just out of reach, right? It can happen for everyone else, but not us. And you'll kind of measure your value based upon criticism or the applause that you'll receive. And in its highest octave, this is about you becoming a witness to how far it is that you've come, learning to trust yourself. And especially when it comes to like taking risks, that's what they're showing me, especially with the strength card and the sun card. It's linked to fifth house, which is taking chances on things that you want to be able to do. Maybe it's a hobby, other kind of aspects of this. Maybe it is about love. Maybe it's about shaping yourself with love as you move through this existence. But it's almost about not seeking external validation or acceptance or permission to do certain things, because it compromises our integrity in the process. This is about a lens of integrity, okay? And when this is balanced, you become the protagonist who knows their worth, right? You walk with integrity, you walk in alignment with that, which means that you becoming a witness to how far it is that you've come naturally allows the characters around you to also witness that, because you have first recognized this. How can someone else recognize something within you that you have not even recognized within yourself, right? So the plot twist becomes your arena for growth and happiness. It's where you begin to step into more of a leadership role, right? With the Sun card, challenges are quests. They're not something that are threats, and you radiate personal power without dominating others, okay? It's where there's not like this overconfidence energy where there's arrogance, right? It's almost like there is this humble confidence and an unspoken power, because you're seated within it, right? You're seated within it, and you begin to trust your path, right? Because you recognize that power within. You have allow that divinity within you to rise to the surface, and you are embodying that divine essence, and you see yourself as the author, not just the victim of your story, right? You're able to change the way that you relate to even like your past stories on earth, and you can see how they've shaped you into who it is that you are, right? Maybe it's about learning to listen to the voice of the intuition and what that sounds like. And you can relate to your past and see the events that had transpired in your reality when you didn't know what that voice sounds like, and now you're able to differentiate it, right? So it's seeing the hidden opportunity that lies in every challenge, okay? So now we're going to move towards the heart chakra. So this is like a green pair of glasses, and this is about wounding versus wholeness. So in the unbalanced state, the movie becomes a series of betrayals, closed doors. You notice every slight lack of appreciation, and the soundtrack becomes like this bittersweet kind of thing. It's like the violin, the violin, the sad violin, and it's like playing notes of no one understands me, or there's just complete disconnection. And the movies are kind of tinged with guardedness, right? Because you don't really trust anyone, because you haven't trusted yourself. They're all interconnected, right? One will impact one another, and sometimes these lenses can be layered. So when you step into a more of a balanced heart chakra lens, then acts of kindness no longer seem suspicious, right? Characters that once felt distant begin to become characters that you can feel this interconnectedness within, right? You can recognize yourself within the other. You can recognize the light that also exists within the other being the same light that exists within you. And at this point, this is where there's opportunity for compassion, where there was prior just opposition. And colors begin to brighten in this scene, right? You begin to see the beauty in every character and the part that every character has played into your story. And I'm hearing your growth and your development, and allowing you to develop that deeper connection within yourself as well. So even the antagonist has that backstory. This is where we begin to open up the lens of compassion, right? And this is where it's kind of like when you view life through an imbalanced heart space, you can see again the protagonist, or you can see like the villain, and you can, actually feel this level of empathy towards what was that point of origin that led to them acting out in this very specific way. It's like you begin to see the layers within a specific character that makes them who they are, right? That energetic signature where they may reject certain aspects of themselves. And at that point you realize that all cruelty springs from weakness, right? All anger is really just fear in disguise, and you can see that being projected very, very easily, and you're able to hold space. And that forgiveness does not always require reconnection, right? But it is kind of the plot twist that changes everything. It changes the way that you relate to others, it changes the way that you connect with others. Okay, so yeah, that's like the heart chakra. Now we're going to move towards the blue pair. So the blue pair is the throat. Okay, this is about authenticity, and the theme is sovereignty versus silence. So when you're wearing this pair of glasses, when viewing your third dimensional experience on Earth, right, and playing out this movie, this adds truth and expression. This is where your awareness tunes into communication, resonance, truth, and the movie isn't just something that you watch, it's actually something that you speak into existence, right? And the story becomes a dialogue between you and the universe, between you and your higher self, however it is that you want to call it. And your words begin to shape the script. Your voice literally alters scenes as you're transitioning through them. This is where your voice alters timelines. And I'm hearing it's where you speak things into creation. So they're showing me the magician in regards to abracadabra, I create as I speak, right? This is where you alter future timelines based upon the things that you speak now, based upon the truth that you embody now. And when this is in balance, the film plays out like you're just an extra in the back seat, in the backdrop. What do they call it? Like the background, with no lines, right? It's just like you are just that person that's a passive observer watching the main character of like walk into the coffee shop, and they have all the lines, and you feel like you don't really have any, and you're just there, and this is as good as things are going to get, and you know, you admire this person, but you don't see yourself being capable of that, right? You see this person living in their truth, confident, being able to kind of like speak with confidence, whatever this may be. Again, it's all interconnected. And you feel like every time you do try to say something, well, your words are just misunderstood, right? Or your voice feels like it's completely muted in the film. This is where you may really want to say something, but you kind of repress it and suppress it, right? Your own truth, because maybe it's distasteful, maybe it's going to be taken the wrong way, maybe it's going to change the ways that other people see you or feel about you, and you withhold your truth, right? Maybe even to keep the peace. Have you ever heard that quote of sometimes we avoid starting an external war, but it starts a war within ourselves? This is where you can speak in ways that kind of distort your truth as well. And miscommunication often creates unnecessary plot twists in this kind of imbalanced way of viewing reality. It's scenes that feel muffled conversations. It's where others kind of speak over you, and there can even be like conversation loops without resolution, right? The conversations aren't really productive in any way. You don't really see eye to eye with those around you, and your truth remains stuck in between the lines that you never really get to say, right? So when this is balanced, though, the movie becomes a dialogue again between you and the universe, in the way where your story becomes more of a co-creation. This is where you speak with truth and clarity and resonance, because you understand your truth, you understand who you are, you're able to blend your most multidimensional sophisticated aspects and allow that to fluidly run through you. Okay, this is about the divinity that flows through you, connecting to the divinity within others, right? That's what I'm seeing it linked to the heart space. You're able to speak to the soul of others, okay? Because you see your interconnectedness to all things. And this is where your words become spells, right? This is where the dialogue opens, and it opens new timelines for yourself, because you have this deep connection to your truth. You're able to embody your truth, and it's not something that you're repressing or suppressing in any way. Because when it's in balance, it's almost like you have a hard time embodying this truth. There's a very specific energy coming through. And because you reject this within yourself first, you will experience a distorted reality, a reality that reflects this internal distortion within you. This will be people reinforcing this by rejecting your truth, but it's a reflection of where you reject your own. Okay, so now we're going to move towards the third eye. So this is like a purple pair of glasses, and or like indigo, right, pair of glasses, and this is about intuition versus illusion. So you now are moving towards higher bandwidths of frequency light, right, with this pair. So this is where you are shown the storyboards of the movie, okay, that is playing out. This is where I'm hearing you really come back into alignment with what the intention is behind your story here, okay? You have two biggest days, the one that you were seeded onto this planet and the one that you remember why, okay? So it's like you kind of remember your why in this lens, okay? This is where there is a visible plot behind each storyboard. This is the hidden screenplay that begins to emerge, right? So archetypes, synchronicities, and patterns that you never noticed before, you begin to notice. This is where you look at life through the lens of the soul. You're able to tune into synchronicities. You're able to decode what are the songs that are playing, right? What are the messages that are coming through? How are my guides speaking to me? I'm seeing angel numbers. I'm witnessing an oracle come to me that is a messenger in disguise and may not even know it, right? It's like you're tuning into a whole different interconnected invisible blueprint that you're existing in. And this is where you'll tune into higher bandwidths of frequency light. You're able to see things that you didn't see before. It's not that you can't look at the things that others can, it's that you're also able to see the things that they may not, if they're not wearing the same glasses as yourself. They may be, again, viewing a different version of the movie. You see where we're going now. So this is where you're able to see celestial light helpers that are working behind the veils, right? Assisting when it comes to orchestrated events or fated events. And when this is balanced, the hidden storyboard begins to emerge. You're able to spot these synchronicities seamlessly bleeding into your reality. In fact, the veil between worlds becomes very, very thin, okay, when you're wearing this kind of pair of glasses, right? Let's just say that. And you begin to see again divine orchestration that's being woven into your existence seamlessly, right? It's being almost like sewn into the fabric of your existence. It's part of who you are, right? You see divinity in everything because you see the divinity within yourself. And the bigger patterns begin to reveal themselves. It almost feels like you're watching a cosmic masterpiece unfold that's telling a cohesive, bigger story, okay, on a quantum level. But you're witnessing the linear unfoldment of that. So yeah, you're able to kind of tune into that. It's also where you can tune into your destiny before it unfolds. This is where you're able to travel with the mind, right? This is where you can pick up on things existing in energetic potential before they collapse into your field. This is where you receive that preview of life's upcomings, right? You're not just imagining new nations, but it's like you cannot go with a mind to anywhere or anything that does not already exist. So it's almost like you're tuning in to different quantum realities. You're aligning your actions accordingly I'm hearing tune in to that specific octave, and then that's something that tunes into you, okay, like a radio station. You become a magnet for that reality because you're a resonant match, okay? So I'm hearing like these different realities are always like looking, they're always searching, okay? But it's whether you're on the wavelength or not, okay? This is like a higher wavelength. That's the way that I'm seeing it. And as soon as you're in able to sustain that resonance, boom, here it comes, right? Here's the opportunity, here's the thing, but it's waiting for you on Faith Street, not I don't know if this is going to happen, or I'm starting to doubt myself street, right? It's like, you know, the Amazon delivery is coming, but you have to be home, right? Your awareness has to be in the body. So yeah, it's that kind of energy. And if it is imbalanced, the film starts to feel confusing, right? It's hard to kind of interpret what all of this means. This is when you have like third eye blockages. Things can feel chaotic. It can be just like conspiritual in that way. You kind of misread symbolisms, or you're missing the deeper patterns, right? You're not able to see or spot the synchronicities, the energy that keeps being recycled to you through different human forms, right? That you keep meeting over and over and over again, and you can't really decode why does this loop keep happening in my reality, right? And every scene begins to feel random or threatening because of that. And the threat, I'm hearing the perceived threat appears when there is lack of understanding. And there is something about you having inner standing when you wear these filters of perception. So now we're going to move towards the crown. The crown is a white pair of glasses. Okay, it's a white pair. It's almost even like it can be however you want it. It's different for everyone. It may even be like a little bit glittery. It may be a little bit more translucent. It may even appear like there are no glasses at all. Okay, it may be something that just like is existing energetically. Okay, but this is about unity versus disconnection. So when you wear these pair of glasses, I'm hearing they're actually invisible to others. It removes the theatre walls altogether. Suddenly, the cinema itself begins to just completely dissolve, and the audience, the projector, the film actually all merge into one unified field of consciousness. Okay, one unified field of awareness. And when this is balanced and the theatre dissolves, you are the story. You are also the storyteller. Okay, and the source light begins to project itself into being. This is where you're not just living in the movie, but you are the movie itself. This is where you're not just in your dream, but you're living in your dream. Okay, this is where the story becomes a living meditation, and there is no screen, only infinite awareness experiencing itself. And when this is imbalanced, the theater feels very lonely. You feel very disconnected in the way that you move through this existence because you were disconnected from yourself, right? Your own source chord, and things begin to feel meaningless, right? This is where you begin to resonate kind of out of alignment, out of internal harmony, which means that you won't really find harmony as you move through this multidimensional realm, right? You won't really feel harmony. You'll begin to question what is the point of even being here. You've lost your why. It's like you've lost your why, and you begin to question why you're even watching, right? This can be where the film begins to kind of be devoid of a higher purpose, right? You feel small, you feel separated or trapped inside of these different scenes of life, and you've fallen asleep, right? That's what happens. It's like you've fallen into this state of hypnosis, and the crown and the root are linked. So when you feel disconnected from yourself, naturally you're going to feel unsafe, right? This is where you kind of go offline, right? So those are the different glasses readily available for you. Okay, so you're still with me, right? Well, the plot twist is that not everybody is seeing life on Earth through the same lens as you. And that's the beauty of us living in a multi-dimensional realm. There's always going to be a contrast, but we are able to find harmony within it. So just recognize, first of all, the lens in which you're interpreting reality through, understand and identify when you're shifting your lens, okay? And also, when you're able to do that and hold space for yourself in this internal journey that you'll go through, this interdimensional movie that you'll go through, you'll also recognize what pair or lens another human is wearing and where they may be projecting a different version of the film, where they may actually literally be experiencing a different version of the film when it comes to their third dimensional human experience on Earth, their quantum movie playing out, right? And where they may be projecting fear or scarcity or jealousy or resentment or compassion, forgiveness, love, unity, whatever version of the film they may be projecting. And instead of getting pulled into their version, just recognize that it is their lens, it's their edit, it's their specific unique frequency and the way that they're choosing, even if that's unconsciously, to experience their life on Earth or their movie. It doesn't have to be yours. So the more you understand yourself and your awareness is anchored and really present within the body, the more that you will become aware of those around you. And the beauty of us living in a multidimensional realm is there's always going to be that contrast. We're always going to be experiencing different versions of the film. Even us, we can shift our version and our lenses, even if it's like one, actual pair of glasses, but there's almost like a button that's always being pressed where they're always shifting and shifting and shifting continuously. Are we aware of those shifts that are taking place, right? So you do not have to, I'm hearing, absorb the projections of those around you, right? This is where you can really step into your sovereignty. You can hold your awareness as, I'm hearing, a form of protection, because you are so deeply aware of what version of the film you're experiencing, that is your truth. And truth is multidimensional. Another being is also experiencing literally a thriller. They're literally experiencing heaven or hell on earth. It's a multidimensional realm, and it's a plane of consciousness, right? It's the dimensional portal domain that we're opening up for ourselves and experiencing and interpreting reality through, right? So yeah, it's a very, very interesting energy. It's a very, very interesting energy. You can become both the viewer but also the director, right? This is always, I'm hearing the pen and paper is always in your hands, right? This is where you can edit your scenes, right? Scenes that you once saw as something that was deeply painful can become, I'm hearing, your biggest transformational powerhouse. So no longer becoming a passive observer, instead becoming a sovereign creator, becoming the main character once again, and recognizing yourself as that, right? It's like the main character that has forgotten that they are one, you know? So this is where you step into the role that you were fully born to play. And that's the energy around you, you know? Six of Wands, like the spotlight is on you. And that's the energy. So, with that being said, I thought this was going to be a longer one. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this message today. You know, it's very, very important. And I saw some comments in some of our previous videos where there's just, I think, a lack of understanding when it comes to the chakras. And hopefully this allows you to understand, interpret, and actually embody and practice. Don't just take the things that I'm saying, guys. You know, embody it, experience it. You can shift in and out of it right now. You always are anyway, you know? So how aware of that are you, right? When you're, I'm hearing, in a situation or circumstance where very specific character or an event has downloaded itself into a reality, well, can you ask yourself, what filter am I wearing right now, right? What filter have I been wearing? What is my vibrational state of awareness that has attracted something in resonance to me, right? Oftentimes, this is just to kind of like wake us up to the fact that we can change the pair of glasses. We can change the way that we're seeing a very specific circumstance or situation. And yeah, that's the energy. So I'm gonna love and leave you right there. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around for this beautiful journey. Personal reading details are also down below. And yeah, also check out Altar Spirit if you guys are looking for some high quality AA grade jewelry. We have kunzite, which is self-love stone on today. Also moonstone and rainbow moonstone, which is about creating miracles every day. They're intuitive stones. It's a small family owned business that handcraft these AA grade gemstones. You can select them individually and kind of overlay them like this, or they have zodiac packs for you to be able to choose from if you want to work with archetypes that are subject to this universe. Want to work with very specific energies. They also have chakra collections as well, so that would be perfect. Yeah, it's definitely on par with what we've been talking about. So if you want to work with a very specific energetic velocity generators, that's one as well that opens up these different kind of domains and different experiences. It's almost like a whole database of experiences. Again, it's like a whole ecosystem that you will open up that leads to different chain reactions in your life. So anyway, I'm gonna love and leave you guys right there. Until next time, bye.
Clouds in the sky, don't care if I stay.